Did you know that a vegetable sitting in your kitchen right now could be quietly harming your heart without you feeling a single warning sign? I'm about to reveal something that may shock many older adults across America, especially those who believe they're eating heart healthy foods every day. I'm Dr. Thomas, and after decades of caring for seniors with heart disease, I've seen countless patients walk into my clinic with heart problems not caused by age, not caused by genetics, but by foods they trusted, foods they were told were good for them. These dangers aren't exotic, they aren't rare. They're woven into everyday meals, comfort foods, and even healthy choices promoted on grocery store shelves. Yet for people over 60, these vegetable based products can quietly shift blood pressure, disrupt heart rhythm, overload the kidneys, and interfere with life saving medications, all while appearing completely innocent. What I'm about to share goes against common belief, but it may protect your heart for years to come. Stay with me, because understanding these hidden threats might be one of the most important steps you take for your health today. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Pickled vegetables. Salt-heavy pickles that quietly overwork the aging heart. For many older adults across America, a small dish of pickled vegetables feels harmless, sometimes even comforting. It brings back memories of family dinners, holiday gatherings, and the familiar tang that so many of us grew up with. But what most seniors never realize is that behind that sharp, satisfying flavor lies a danger uniquely potent for the aging heart. What harms you is not the vegetable itself, but the staggering amount of sodium hidden inside every bite. And for a heart that has spent 6, 7, or 8 decades carrying you through life, that sodium is not just unhealthy. It can be the silent force that pushes your heart toward exhaustion. As we grow older, the heart stiffens naturally, arteries lose elasticity. The kidneys, our regulators of salt and fluid, no longer filter as efficiently as they once did. This means that every extra gram of salt stays in the body longer, pulling in water, expanding blood volume, and forcing the heart to pump with more pressure than it was built to handle. Many seniors describe swelling in their ankles, a tightening in the chest, or breathlessness after simple tasks, walking to the mailbox, bending over to tie a shoe. Often they blame age. Few suspect the jar of dill pickles or the bowl of sauerkraut sitting innocently in the refrigerator. I once cared for a 74-year-old woman named Evelyn, a warm and spirited grandmother from Minnesota. She believed pickled cabbage helped her digestion, so she ate a generous serving every afternoon. What she did not see was the slow accumulation of fluid beneath the surface, her heart straining against rising pressure day after day. One morning, she woke unable to catch her breath. By the time she arrived at the hospital, her legs had swollen, her heartbeat had shifted into a dangerous rhythm, and her blood pressure climbed to a level that could have triggered a stroke at any moment. The primary culprit was not a new disease. It was the relentless sodium load from her daily pickled vegetables, something she believed was keeping her healthy. For seniors, this connection is not theoretical. High salt pickled foods can damage your heart, weaken its pumping ability, and over time, contribute to heart failure, arrhythmias, and sudden spikes in blood pressure that can destroy the very muscle you depend on. When the heart is forced to move an excess volume of fluid day after day, it eventually loses the ability to rest. A lifetime of resilience can be undone by a habit no one ever warned you about. Yet, the danger feels invisible precisely because the food seems wholesome. It's just vegetables, people say. But for someone over 60, especially with hypertension, kidney issues, or even mild heart disease, the sodium level in a single serving of pickled vegetables can exceed what your heart can safely tolerate in an entire day. The damage builds quietly, gradually, and often shows itself only when the situation has become urgent. That is why every older adult deserves to understand this truth. What tastes harmless may be forcing your heart toward a breaking point. Your heart has carried you through so many seasons of life. It should not be pushed toward failure by something as preventable as hidden sodium. And if pickled vegetables can strain the heart this severely, wait until you hear about the next everyday vegetable based food that poses an even more surprising threat, one that many seniors trust without question. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number one below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number two. 2. Canned vegetable soups, the hidden sodium trap that quietly breaks down the aging heart. For many seniors across America, canned vegetable soups feel like a practical comfort, warm, easy to prepare, inexpensive, and seemingly wholesome. After all, it's vegetable soup, a phrase that sounds gentle, nourishing, and heart friendly. But for an older heart, especially one living with decades of wear, high blood pressure, or even mild congestive failure, these soups contain a silent danger that too many seniors underestimate: extraordinary amounts of sodium capable of damaging your heart from the inside out. What makes canned soup so harmful is not the vegetables floating inside the broth, it's the broth itself, engineered to last on a shelf for months or years, preserved with sodium levels far beyond what any aging heart can comfortably handle. Many well known brands contain 700 to 1,200 milligrams of sodium per serving, and a single can often contains 2 servings. That means one small meal can deliver more sodium than your heart and kidneys should receive over an entire day. For someone over 60 whose arteries have stiffened and whose kidneys no longer filter as efficiently, this creates a perfect storm of fluid retention, elevated blood pressure, and overwhelming stress on the heart's pumping chambers. I remember caring for an 81-year-old man named George, a quiet widower who relied on canned soups because cooking felt tiring and he didn't want to be a burden on his family. He believed he was making a healthier choice than fast food or processed snacks. What he didn't know was that every bowl of soup was loading his bloodstream with salt his kidneys could no longer clear. Over weeks and months, that salt pulled water into his circulation, stretching his heart, thickening his blood pressure, and slowly draining the strength from the organ that had carried him through 8 decades. By the time he came to the hospital, short of breath and unable to lie flat without gasping, his heart had begun to fail under pressure it was never meant to endure. This is the frightening truth too few seniors ever hear. Canned vegetable soups can destroy your heart not with a single serving, but through slow, daily accumulation. Every extra day of high sodium pushes your heart harder. Every can you believe is healthy enough adds more pressure to arteries already stiffened by age. What feels like a harmless shortcut can gradually push the heart toward a point where its muscle fibers no longer contract with the force they once had. And the most heartbreaking part is how easily this could be prevented with knowledge most seniors simply never receive. Medical science has shown again and again that high sodium intake is a direct driver of heart failure, stroke, arrhythmias, and sudden cardiovascular collapse, especially in older adults. When your body holds on to too much fluid, the heart is forced to beat harder, faster, and under greater strain. Over time, this relentless workload can literally weaken the muscle, stretch the chambers, and reduce the heart's ability to pump effectively. It is not an exaggeration. For an aging body, excess sodium truly has the power to damage your heart and destroy your heart's resilience. This is why seniors must be extremely cautious. The comforting warmth of canned soup should never come at the cost of your heart's future. Choosing low sodium versions, draining half the broth, or preparing simple homemade soups can protect you from a danger that hides beneath a label most people never read. But if you think the sodium in canned soups is alarming, wait until you discover the next vegetable-based product, one that comes from a plant but can disturb your heart's electrical rhythm in ways far more sudden and frightening. 3. Licorice root and black licorice, the plant that can disrupt your heart's electrical system and push an aging heart toward danger. For many older adults in America, licorice feels like an innocent treat, something nostalgic, a flavor from childhood, or a soothing herbal ingredient in teas and digestive remedies. It comes from a plant, it's natural, and it has been used for centuries. Yet what most seniors never hear, and what too many doctors forget to mention, is that licorice contains a chemical capable of quietly destabilizing an aging heart. This is not exaggeration. It is a reality documented repeatedly in medical literature and emergency rooms across the country. At the center of the danger is a compound called glycyrrhizin, found naturally in licorice root. In a younger person, the body can often compensate for its effects, but in someone over 60, someone whose kidneys may be slower, whose blood pressure may already be elevated, and whose heart muscle may be less resilient, the consequences can be devastating. Glycyrrhizin interferes with the body's ability to regulate two crucial minerals, sodium and potassium. When sodium rises and potassium drops, blood pressure climbs sharply, fluid retention increases, and most dangerously, the electrical system of the heart becomes unstable. This instability can cause dangerous arrhythmias, the kind that make your heart skip, flutter, or pound unpredictably. In severe cases, the rhythm can deteriorate into patterns that cannot sustain life. For an older adult, this is not a theoretical concern. It is a known medical reality. The FDA has documented cases of seniors experiencing heart failure, hypertensive crises, and even cardiac arrest after consuming large amounts of black licorice or licorice-based herbal teas over several days. I remember a 69-year-old patient who came to the hospital just days before Halloween. He had been eating a small bag of black licorice every evening, thinking it was a better choice than chocolate. Within a week, he felt dizzy, weak, and frightened by the pounding in his chest. His potassium level had plummeted to a dangerous low, his blood pressure had surged, and his heart rhythm had slipped into a pattern that could have ended his life. He stared at the candy wrapper in disbelief. He never imagined something so ordinary, something he had enjoyed since childhood, could damage his heart so profoundly. This is what makes licorice so dangerous for seniors. It does not feel dangerous. It feels familiar, comforting, harmless. And yet, for an aging heart, it carries the power to quietly shift the balance of electrolytes, strain the heart muscle, and, if consumed regularly or in large amounts, destroy your heart's natural rhythm in a way that leaves little warning. No senior should live in fear, but every senior deserves the truth. Your heart, after decades of faithful work, should never be jeopardized by something as deceptively innocent as a handful of candy or a soothing herbal tea. And if licorice, a plant so many trust, can threaten the heart so quickly, you will be stunned to learn that the next vegetable-related food can interfere with your medications and create a level of danger even more unpredictable. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Grapefruit and grapefruit juice, the healthy fruit that can overload your medications and quietly push an aging heart into harm. For decades, Americans have been told that grapefruit is a heart-healthy choice, a bright, refreshing fruit that lowers cholesterol, boosts immunity, and supports weight control. Seniors across the country begin their mornings with half a grapefruit or a glass of grapefruit juice, believing they are making a responsible, health-conscious decision. Yet for older adults, especially those taking medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or heart rhythm, this familiar fruit carries a hidden and deeply unsettling danger. It can quietly transform your daily medications into a force capable of damaging your heart, overwhelming it, and in some cases, placing your life at risk. The threat does not come from sugar, acidity, or calories. It comes from a natural compound in grapefruit called furanocoumarin, which interferes with an enzyme in the small intestine responsible for breaking down many common heart medications. When this enzyme is blocked, your medication is not processed normally. Instead, it remains in your bloodstream at levels far higher than your doctor ever intended. For a younger person, the body may compensate. But for someone over 60 whose liver and kidneys no longer regulate medications with the same efficiency, this interaction can become a dangerous trap. I remember a 69-year-old man named Harold, a retired bus driver who took pride in managing his cholesterol with a statin prescribed by his cardiologist. Every morning he drank a tall glass of grapefruit juice because he believed it helped clean out the arteries. What he did not know was that the juice was disabling the very enzyme meant to control the statin in his system. Day after day, the drug concentration in his bloodstream crept higher, far beyond the safe range. He began to experience muscle pain, dark urine, unusual fatigue, and a heavy pressure in his chest. By the time he reached the emergency room, his heart was struggling against dangerously low blood pressure and an electrolyte imbalance triggered by medication levels that had quietly spiraled out of control. His heart was not only strained, it was on the verge of crisis, pushed toward a point where the wrong heartbeat or the wrong drop in blood pressure could destroy your heart's ability to protect you. Many seniors are completely unaware of this risk, yet grapefruit interacts with dozens of medications commonly prescribed to older adults: statins, antiarrhythmics, blood pressure drugs, blood thinners, anti-anxiety medications, and even some pain medicines. The danger is silent. You cannot feel the interaction happening. You cannot sense the medication rising inside your bloodstream. The heart simply begins to bear the consequences: irregular rhythms, sudden drops in blood pressure, muscle breakdown, and stress that can push an aging cardiovascular system to its limits. It is heartbreaking to see older adults harmed not by something reckless or careless, but by a fruit they believed was helping them live longer. The truth is not that grapefruit is bad, but that for many seniors on heart medications, it can become a powerful and unpredictable amplifier, transforming ordinary doses into levels that are genuinely capable of damaging your heart. And if a simple breakfast fruit can override your medications this dramatically, wait until you hear about the next vegetable-based danger, one that hides inside foods seniors eat every week, quietly raising potassium to levels that can stop the heart without warning. 5. High potassium vegetables in kidney disease. When heart healthy produce becomes a hidden threat to your aging heart. For most of life, vegetables like spinach, tomatoes, beets, and sweet potatoes feel like symbols of good health. Colorful, wholesome foods our doctors encouraged us to eat for decades. And for many people, they are healthy. But for older adults living with reduced kidney function, a condition far more common than most seniors realize, these same vegetables can turn unexpectedly dangerous. What was once nourishing can become a slow, silent threat, allowing potassium to rise to levels that the heart simply cannot endure. And when potassium climbs too high, it has the power to damage your heart, disrupt its electrical signals, and in severe cases, destroy your heart's ability to beat at all. The troubling reality is that kidney function declines naturally with age. By the time a person reaches 65 or 70, the kidneys often filter less efficiently than they did in midlife. When diabetes, high blood pressure, or years of medication are added to the picture, the kidneys may no longer clear excess potassium at the speed the body needs. Yet, the heart relies on a precise balance of potassium to fire each beat in perfect rhythm. That means even a small rise, just a few points above normal, can create chaos inside the heart's electrical system, and the danger grows quickly, silently, and without warning. I recall an 82-year-old gentleman named Robert, a quiet man who loved gardening and believed deeply in eating clean. Every evening, he enjoyed a baked sweet potato with his dinner, believing it strengthened his heart. But his kidneys were weakening, something he considered just a normal part of aging. Over several weeks, the potassium he consumed began to accumulate. There was no pain, no sign, no early alarm. One afternoon, while sitting in his living room, he felt a wave of weakness. His pulse slowed, then skipped, then became frighteningly irregular. By the time he reached the hospital, his potassium level was so elevated that his heart was on the verge of shutting down. The very foods he trusted, foods celebrated as healthy, had become dangerous only because his aging kidneys could no longer keep up. This is what makes high potassium vegetables such a hidden threat to older adults with kidney disease. The danger is invisible. The vegetables taste fresh, the meals feel wholesome, and the body gives no early signal. Meanwhile, potassium quietly rises in the bloodstream, tightening its hold on the heart. For an older heart, already less flexible and more vulnerable to electrical disturbances, this buildup can lead to arrhythmias, dangerously slow heartbeats, or sudden cardiac arrest. It is not the vegetable that harms you. It is the combination of age, declining kidney function, and the body's inability to clear what once was harmless. Too many seniors assume that healthy food can't hurt you, but the truth is more delicate. What protects one person can endanger another, and when it comes to potassium, the line between safety and danger is narrower than most realize, especially after age 60. And if these five vegetable based dangers can hide so easily in everyday life, imagine what else might be quietly shaping the health of your heart, waiting to be uncovered in the final, most important message you need to hear next. The hidden dangers seniors must understand to protect their hearts. As we look back at these five vegetable based dangers, a pattern becomes painfully clear. The threats facing older adults are rarely dramatic, obvious, or announced. They are subtle, everyday choices. Pickled vegetables loaded with sodium, canned soups disguised as comfort food, licorice that shifts your body's chemistry, grapefruit that interferes silently with your medications, and high potassium produce that overwhelms weakened kidneys. Each of these foods appears harmless, even wholesome. Yet for a heart that has carried you through a lifetime, They can quietly accumulate into pressure strong enough to damage your heart, weaken the rhythms that sustain you, or in severe cases, destroy the delicate balance that keeps your heart beating at all. The message every senior in America deserves to hear is this: danger does not always arrive in dramatic moments. Sometimes it hides in habits so familiar you barely notice them. But knowledge, real, practical knowledge, gives you the power to protect yourself. By understanding how your aging body changes, how kidneys filter more slowly, how medications interact more easily, and how sodium or potassium can overwhelm your heart, you reclaim control over your health in a way fear never could. Your heart has served you faithfully for decades. It has endured stress, loss, joy, and triumph. Now it asks for your care, your attention, and your wisdom. And if these 5 warnings reveal anything, it is that small choices can mean the difference between harm and healing. Because the truth is simple: your heart can be protected if you know where the hidden dangers truly lie. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.